My name is David Chatel. I'm a priest in the Episcopal Church here in Alabama. That's right, Episcopals represent. I'm humbled to stand before you today to register my absolute disagreement with and deep level of concern over the content and potential impact of HB 1 and SB 10. As an Episcopal priest, I'm charged often with the spiritual and practical care of many diverse individuals. And a big part of this process is voicing for people who have no voice, being a voice for people who oftentimes are not heard. And that is especially true in times where their rights are threatened. And unfortunately, this is one of those times. One of the sponsors of this bill has been quoted as saying, "It is our responsibility as lawmakers to do all we can to keep our children out of harm's way." Well, ironically, if these bills become law, the enforcement will no doubt place scores of Alabama trans youth, their families, and other trans professionals in tragic and overwhelmingly difficult positions. Physical, mental health professionals, social workers, social justice and human rights advocates, and trans youth and their families have come together in a unified voice to call our lawmakers in Alabama to accountability. It is clear that the scientific evidence supports a rejection of these bills outright. But make no mistake, the issue at hand is that these bills limit and potentially criminalize parts of our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the powerful thing about those rights is not that our system of government has provided them to us, but that they are the birthright of every human being, that they are unalienable and endowed to us by our Creator. Lawmakers in our state and across the country face a responsibility to uphold these self-evident truths in the laws that they craft, and we must expect and require no less of them. Alabama has a long history of playing host to the struggle for human rights to be recognized and upheld, and far too many times, hindsight has shown our state to be on the wrong side of history. The side that has ignored decades of obvious inequality and division, only to see those who struggle for their rights come knocking at its doors again and again, not content to be pushed aside, but demanding only what is unquestionably theirs as part of the human race. Trans youth and their families have a right to supportive and affirming health care. To deny this care to someone because of their gender or sexual identity is overreaching and unconstitutional, but it is also cruel. And passing these bills is to take away services that have been proven to make the difference between an existence filled with depression, anxiety, behavioral challenges, and suicidality, and the potential for a degree of peace and normalcy. We are entitled to our opinions based on our convictions, but when we seek to limit the rights of others based on those same convictions, we run roughshod over sacred ground and ignore the image of God in each other. Individual rights end where the common good begins. And I would offer you this in closing. At best, these bills are not in the interest of trans youth in Alabama, and at worst, they are an assault on the sacred God-given rights of trans youth and their families, and as such, they are an attack on the rights of us all. To my LGBTQ family gathered here today, I am an advocate, a friend, and a brother. You have many clergy and lay people in the Episcopal Church who feel the same. You are worthy of love, respect, and care, but you don't need me or anyone else to tell you that for it to be true. It is true by the very fact that you exist. And now may the blessing of the all-loving God be upon you this day and remain with you always. Amen.